From WRAL News and the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, this is your Coronavirus North Carolina News Brief for Monday, January 4th. I'm Gerald Owens. With more frontline workers expected to receive the vaccine in the coming weeks, and many receiving their second dose this week, we're answering your questions about the vaccine and separating fact from fiction about things you may have seen online. I spoke with UNC infectious disease expert Dr. David Wohl about the process. Let's talk about vaccine hesitancy. One of the biggest concerns seems to be the unknown. Others worry that they'll get sick from the vaccine. Is this possible?
Yeah, most people don't get anything near sick from the vaccine. A sore arm, maybe feeling a little achy. That's what we see, and it's really mild and it passes quickly. I think the risks from the vaccine have to be weighed against the risk of COVID-19. COVID-19 kills about 1% of people who get ill with it. So I think we have to be really careful about something that may happen in 1 in a million people, like a bad allergic reaction, or one in tens and tens of thousands, versus COVID-19. And with the numbers rising, I am really worried that more and more people are going to get the side effects of COVID-19 than any minor side effects of the vaccine.
I know scientists and medical professionals are learning more about this virus every single day. There have been reports this week that a nurse who was vaccinated tested positive a week later. Explain how that's possible.
Yeah, it takes some time before the body can react to the vaccine. And the studies that we've seen for the vaccines we're giving now, the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccine, it's about 10 days later that we really start to see a decrease in protection against the COVID-19. So I think it's really important to understand that you're not instantaneously protected from getting sick from COVID-19 once you take the first shot. It takes about 10 days before we start to see that effect, and probably just cement the deal. The second shot really seals it, and that way you can be protected longer term against getting sick.
So help me understand this. Does the first shot protect you a little bit? And the next shot, of course, obviously protects you completely, but do you get that, at least some level of protection from that first shot?
For the first 10 days, when you look at some of the studies that we're talking about, and these again are tens of thousands of people, for the first week and a half, there's really no difference in the number of people in each of the study arms who get sick with COVID-19. But about that 10-day mark, it's really dramatic. The curve flattens, incredibly for those who are randomized to get vaccine, where you really don't see new cases increasing in that group, where the placebo group, you just continue to see an accumulation of new cases. So around day 10. Now, all those people went on and got the second vaccine. So we don't know what would have happened to them if they hadn't gotten the second vaccine, but certainly even before the 21-day mark or the 28-day mark for the various vaccines, we see that there's some protection. We just don't know how long that would last without the second shot. Thus, we should still take the second shot.
Dr. Wohl, some people have had some allergic reactions to the vaccine. Is there any way to predict ahead of time who that might be?
It's really unclear right now what they're reacting to. It's probably not the innards of the vaccine itself, but probably some ingredient that's used to preserve or to make the vaccine effective. So it's unclear exactly which component. Again, this is really rare. We haven't seen severe allergic reactions very commonly in millions of people now who've been vaccinated, but it does happen. I would say people who've had an allergic reaction, a severe allergic reaction to a prior vaccine, those are the people we're watching really carefully when we give this vaccine.
And finally, what would you say to someone who is still afraid to get the vaccine, just completely reluctant to do it?
Yeah, I understand. And I think everyone needs to educate themselves from reputable sources about the vaccine. Look, we don't have 5 years of data on these vaccines. That's just impossible. And we can't wait for that to protect ourselves. We have a lot of data. And I think what we do know is in the shorter run of time of months, not years, the vaccine looks really safe. Really, very few people have had any reaction, and any reaction that has happened has been transient. We also know it does protect people against getting sick from COVID-19, including severely sick. Those two things are really important to me. And I think given where we are right now, 1 out of 1,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. Given that stark reality, the risk to benefit ratio for me shifts towards the vaccine.
It's a very important conversation, and Dr. David Wohl, we really appreciate you being part of it tonight.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
For the North Carolina Coronavirus Podcast News Brief, I'm Gerald Owens.